Hi, everyone, and welcome to this chat today about Peruvian food and recipes. My name is Jessica, and I'm the creator of Once Upon a Pesto. And today, joining us is Ericka La Madrid. She is from Peru, currently living in Virginia, and I'm going to bring her up, and we will get this conversation going all about Peruvian. It's going to be amazing and delicious. So I just sent her the invitation to join us, and she is going to be up here. There she is. Hello, Ericka. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. Happy Sunday.
Yes, happy Sunday. And we were just on Clubhouse also talking, kind of giving a little preview of what this conversation was going to be about. So thank you so much, Ericka, for your time there. And looking forward to seeing some familiar faces that were over on Clubhouse join us here on Instagram as well. So let's dive right in, Ericka. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, where and whereabouts you lived in Peru, what it was like living in Peru, and what the Peruvian culture is like.
Sure. Hi, thank you, Jessica, and thank you for this opportunity. Like I was telling you, for life, I've been doing like some, but it's like I should do more. I was saying we should do more interactions like that because it's nice to see face to face. Well, my name is Ericka. I'm Peruvian, 100%. Like I was telling you, I love like my culture. I love food. I love everything that is involved with Peru because, of course, as Peruvian, we're very proud of the food and what we share, to others that come to visit us for the first time. And yeah, my experience with Peru, of course, is like the food, but also is the interactions and the travel experience you can have. So people, I'm part of, like I will say, I'm a founder of Delectable Peru. That is a culinary company that does your kind of like your planning for the whole time that you are in Peru. Like when you plan to go, and people when they think about Peru, it's like Machu Picchu, right? So that's the first thing. And if you talk with any traveler and say, "Oh, I choose Peru because of Machu Picchu," so the whole South America they choose, and it's all, of course, all beautiful countries, all South America. But the first kind of like entrance to the South America is Peru. And then they kind of start doing the whole planning and Inca Trail and all the adventures there. But of course, with that comes the food because you need to eat. And we are for many years like a very important destination for foodies because we have very important restaurants like in the 50 best restaurants it's about 5 or 6 restaurants, and the most important around the world. One is Central, Astrid Gaston. So it's many like popular, and of course that come together with the work of the chefs that they are doing, like promoting our country, as a destination. So of course I really enjoy to kind of put together these delicious plans because it's not just because I love the food, but also I enjoy for them to try it if it's the first time. And so many people that never tried ceviche. So I'm like so happy that I got to plan a ceviche adventures or like a tour where they learn about and taste it for the first time too. So yeah, that's basically like our exciting for the food and sharing also like what is Peru about.
Very neat. I love the idea of combining, travel and food and just that immersion in the culture. That's really what Juana Pesto is all about. And so, Peru, for those of you watching and who don't know about Peru, Peru is in South America in the northwestern kind of corner. And I looked this up. I was shocked that Peru is about the size of 3 Californias put together. So if you're familiar with the United States, California's on the West Coast, large state. 3 of those makes Peru. So Peru, it has so much to offer, Ericka. Like you said, it's so much more than Machu Picchu. So tell us about, kind of the different areas that Peru offers and what is it like throughout the country?
Sorry, I'm like my dog just start barking in the exact time. That's why one of the reasons probably I don't do a lot of live is because of the dog always get excited when we have people around or something. But yeah, anyway, I think it's calm. It's calm now. Sorry. Okay. Yes. I think you were saying, sorry, I get distracted for even the kids or the dog. But yeah, you were saying about like the food and the tradition and stuff like that.
Yeah. Tell us about, kind of the geography of Peru because it is such a large country. And it's so much more than just Machu Picchu, but everyone pictures Machu Picchu when they think of Peru. But kind of take us through, what is the coast like? What is it inland and north and south? Are there differences that stand out?
Exactly. And what very important question, because many people is ask, no, why is the food so different, so tasty, so delicious? And I say one of the reasons is the regions. Like we have different regions. You know, I just gonna mention three, but in those three regions, you're gonna see different like climate, like different weather, different altitude, and that make like our dishes or our ingredients so tasty because of the land and the good weather. So we will start for the part of like where the capital of the Peru is, that is Lima. And in Lima, you're gonna have like the whole Pacific Ocean, the ocean that provide us a lot of fish, seafood. And from there, we will have in that region, we will have like all the, you know, seafood and the ceviche and all the delicious food like that, because we are very lucky to have the ocean that provide us with it. Then from that area that is like kind of like the coast and like the whole Pacific Ocean line, we will pass to the region of the Andes, that is the mountains where like Machu Picchu is located, and all, the whole Andes too, Arequipa, you're gonna have like many mountains around the middle region. And that will be like providing us potatoes. We have more than 3,000 types of potatoes, which is amazing. It's part of our history, and that comes with the altitudes and the weather. We don't have like extreme weather. Yeah, probably if you go to the mountains and you have like the altitude, like high altitude, of course, it's gonna be cold. But in, you know, different other countries, is like we can, you know, survive with all the ingredients and with delicious and the altitude. You have potatoes, you have yucas, you have like motes, cereals, quinoa. And that will give you like the whole perspective for all different stuff. And then we will go to the region of the jungle, the Amazon. The Amazon will have different like fruits, different vegetables. You have something that is called like a wild tomato, for example, that will not find in like Lima. For example, in Lima, you will have it, but you need to bring it from the Amazon, right? So things like that, and fruits that you probably, if you never traveled in those areas, you never ever hear about it, like our cocona, that is like a kind of like very melon flavor, something like that, or something very similar to the cherries, that is the camu camu, for example. And they have their particular type of food too, that is more like exotic, a lot of Asian, like kind of similarities with flavors and things like that. Some these things make you excited because, like I say, we're lucky to have all the ingredients, the minerals from the earth, and that make the flavors amazing.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me, you know, to hear these fruits that you're mentioning that you can't find anywhere here in the United States. And for those watching, Erica's in Virginia, so not too far from where I am in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
and if, you know, we go to our local grocery store, those types of fruits we just can't find. So really that opportunity to go on a tour like the ones that you organize, Ericka, experience the culture, but also experience these new foods that we just don't have access to is such a unique opportunity. And I want to kind of dive into the day. You know, think of a typical day in Peru. What does breakfast look like? What does lunch look like? What does dinner look like? And what are those ingredients and dishes that are special to the culture?
Jessica, it's so much in there that probably the whole year you will go through different types of food, different types of fruits. So I will say you're typical for me, for example, that I love everything in general. I love a lot of fish, a lot of seafood. So, and you know, a little bit of everything. So I will start with like a sandwich with juice. Like that's kind of like the classic. Most of the Sundays, I will say. Today we were like just chatting about like this panko chicharrón, that is kind of pork, fried pork with in a bread that is a fresh bread, very crunchy bread. So that would be kind of the start of the day for a regular Sunday. If you're gonna go do it every day, of course you can, because we have delicious sandwich over there, and papaya juice. I was just talking with my mom. It's like, how is your breakfast? And it's like, my grandma used to sit down at the table with all of us, and it was like oatmeal, eggs, fried sweet potato with cheese. It's like it was a fest, like just the breakfast. Imagine like you need to kind of hold on and make a space for lunch, but it's really hard to kind of like you start from the beginning with a big, you know, breakfast and juice, tamales, a little bit of everything, and then you make a space. If you have like a family reunion, a get together, then you're gonna have even barbecue. And for me, in my case, well, more like a, you know, something like we call parrillada, or if you go away, But if not, you can get it in your house, some criollo food that is a kind of traditional food in Peru, like comida criolla, like Creole. And this will be like more the homemade style. Like could be lomo saltado. I don't know if you hear about it. Like it's meat with potatoes, fried potatoes and onions and tomatoes. So
Okay.
that's one of my favorite. Then another typical criollo dish like will be ají de gallina. I just have it with friends yesterday. I brought it to them in a picnic, so I kind of did like a little. So that is chicken with a jello sauce, chili, like cheese, milk, and all that go together with like you need to kind of get the chicken like very like this like kind of when you do a sandwich, the same thing, like
Mm-hmm.
shim, you know. And then, yeah, and that normally goes together with rice, and that comes with potatoes, like boiled potato, and then also like a boiled egg. So that's kind of like the typical, uh, Peruvian traditional dishes, and then they have like that and like a whole list of different types of homemade. And I would say we do dinner like about 8, 9, all depends, but not early as normally, in Europe or US, for example.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say, yeah, we can keep continuing the same, but it will be even like, if it's not traditional, we will have like also the whole fusion we have in Peru with the Chinese food, with
Oh,
Japanese
wow.
food, with Africa, with so many countries that make us also another like reason to be a food destination place because of like Japanese with Peruvian food. The fusion is called Nikkei, for example. And then you will have people, I'm not the only one saying it, but people that say, oh, this sushi or like makis or stuff like that is the first time I ever try something like that, because you're gonna find things like the sashimi with pops of quinoa, or like the
Ooh.
potatoes go to like things like that that are kind of like very different, right? So yeah,
Uh-huh.
that would be, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm amazed that we have that. But yeah, I want to say hi to everyone that is joining us.
Yeah, Hola Roberto. I know he's said hello here. And Anne, hello. Thank you for the heart. And also Erica. So talking about this fusion food, I love that, if you think of South America, there's the Pacific coast and there's the Atlantic coast. And so what you're talking about, those Asian influences, those African influences, those are coming over across the Pacific Ocean to Peru. And, like you said, it makes this beautiful creation of food. And you thinking of quinoa, that's so unique to Peru, and it spread globally. In recent years past, it was this whole fad. Everyone wants to have quinoa instead of rice, and so when quinoa is used then in sushi, it's just magical. I can't describe it any other way. And talk to us a little bit more about like the African influences that you see in Peruvian food.
Sure. And like you mentioned, like the whole immigration, years of history, and like people coming, to South America. And I will say one of the ones, I'm not, like I say, sometimes it gets all the fusion together with Japanese, then Chinese, that we call it chifa, for example, as a very typical word for like the fusion of China and Peru together with food. We call it like chifa, like CHIFA. And
Okay.
I would say in Africa, as you can see, like it's so many Creole too. It's a very big food in Africa. One of the dishes, I hope I'm not wrong, because like I say, I always like talk with these experts on food and chefs that are international. They're like, Ericka, this is here. I always say, forgive me if I make a mistake. Sometimes
Mhm.
like all different. So I'm learning every day something new. I would say, also very important dish that is a lot of influence from Africa is the lomo saltado, the one that we were like talking about, that is the meat.
Yeah.
It's actually preparing a wok where the fire need to cover the whole plate, because one of the particularities of this dish is that this flavor of the fire going around the meat need to be like part of that. If that doesn't go together, for me, it's not lomo sentado. Now I'm becoming like very, no, that is not the flavor. So it needs to be kind of the barbecue taste or something like that. So that's kind of like, and I feel like, yeah, sometimes when I got to a restaurant, overseas, not in Peru, is I'm very hard joshing people because I feel like this is not the ceviche I'm used to. And I understand, like you say, it's so hard to find the right ingredients and the right, even for me, I'm going to the supermarket here in the Virginia or Washington. It's so hard to find good limes right now. Right now, as I know, it's a whole, very low stock of everything in general. But like limes, for example, most of them are frozen. So how will be, how are we gonna be able to do even like a closed type of ceviche? So that's kind of like the things. You need to have the right ingredients and also not frozen, because then it will change the whole flavor. So imagine that is, and I know it's a challenge for restaurants here. It's a lot of restaurants in Florida, for example. I have a lot of friends that have like restaurants, and I know could be one of the closest because they are kind of like have the good weather. And I would say I did try good ceviche over there. But yeah, thank you, Roberto. He say I love my passion. Something that I would love to do. I love to do is talk about food, and I make people hungry. That's for sure. For sure.
Yeah. I also just want to say ciao Patrizio, grazie mille, and Ericka. So the foods that you were talking about, it's just so neat. This if you call it a melting pot in Peru, the different dishes and stuff like that, and we're talking about the freshness too. So really, when you talk about going to certain countries and trying their foods, it's all about what is available to that country that makes it unique, and that's where you're going to taste the best flavors, because a frozen lime just isn't going to taste the same as a fresh lime. So it is it's a challenge, but it's also fascinating too that every country has those unique foods, and it's really taking advantage of it when you have it. So here in the United States, it might be a little different than it is in Peru, but what would you say are kind of some of the highlight ingredients that are common throughout different dishes in Peru? Like, are there certain spices or herbs? We talked about quinoa, all the potato varieties too. So what are those, like, if you had to highlight staple ingredients, maybe 3 to 5, what would they be?
Well, like I say, every time I kind of think about food, about Peru, in general, I will put first in line before, of course, I just think straight, ceviche will be like this, that. But I will say, the main ingredients that every dish need to have will be like ají, that is our chili, but not the chili that you will find in Mexico or other countries, nothing wrong with that, but will be ají amarillo, that is kind of the translation specifically is yellow chili, but the funny thing is not yellow, it's like orange. It's orange chili. So it's a little, I will say, they will get confusing just right away. But it's like a chili that have flavor that, will go in so many like different recipes, like a huancaína sauce, that is a potato with yellow sauce, that is like a huancaína, that is called papa, like potato, a la huancaína. So that would be like a specific, or kind of like the main ingredient for that dish will be the chili. The chili will make the whole flavor. And like I was saying yesterday, I was just making some dishes for friends, or well, I was I always kind of tell them, like, you didn't try this, you need to try it. So I kind of like my grandma, like putting us like the dish in their face, you need to eat it. And so we're like, oh, this is delicious. I don't know, really, they should really like it because they were happy about it. But I did one that goes very similar, that is the ají de gallina. That right there is telling you like they use ají or chili in the gallina, which is not gallina anymore, the hen. It's not hen, it's chicken. So we did like a chili, translation will be chili of chicken, but in this case it's ají de gallina. Well, for names or recipes you don't need to translate or anything, but it's ají de gallina. It's basically, one time I tried another kind of similar dish in France, but they say it's kind of like a buttery jello like dish that has also a little bit of cheese. But in this case we use the base as the chili, the yellow chili I was talking about, onions, and also like garlic, kind of, and then that mixed together with like a bread that need to be, before, like kind of like kind of with not marinade, but with milk, and also the milk need to have like that whole like broth, like chicken broth. So before that, you need to kind of have that in a side. So that all you need to kind of know that step by step. So you have all that preparation and kind of put all together, and then kind of the last step will be the whole chicken, right? So that is kind of like, I'm gonna try to find a picture over here so I can show you. But yeah, that's kind of like what we try to transfer. It's like the whole experience, but also the flavors. And I will say it was not that hard to replicate. And in Peru, like you have the right ingredients, like it's the onion, the freshness of the garlic, and the whole herbs, and like chili. Here, like you say, yeah, it's difficult to find. But for the chili in the Hispanic market, if you find something, Google Map or something like that, you can find Hispanic market. There's a possibility you can find the paste, the yellow paste in there. So that will be interesting too.
Yeah, I will keep my eyes out for that. Sounds wonderful. I'd love to try it. I keep laughing because when here in America in English language you say Jello, you think of the colorful
Jello. Yeah, the gelatin. The gelatin. It's the white. The white for us, it sounds totally different, and that's the one that I will repeat many, many times and say. Jello, the color Jello. Yes. Yeah, it's always like some words that are so hard to kind of like, but yeah, I always kind of go back. Yeah.
Wow. Ericka, I want to kind of take a step back. So we talked all about the food. We talked a little bit about like what you do with the culture tours throughout Peru. Tell us when you were growing up, kind of what was that atmosphere? What was the experience like, come dinner time with the family? How was it? So now you live in the United States and what kind of the culture around food is here. What is the culture around food like in Peru?
I will say yes, for Peru, for my home, times like getting together in the table are very special because it's kind of like and I will say in general, it feels like it's when it's like quality family time, and like the time that you can have conversations with your kids, ask how your husband is doing at work. And I think like more for the food, that is a big reason to get together. It's like the communication and the connection you can have, just to play a dish in between everybody. So of course I have 2 kids, so I will say that's a big reason for them to have like ceviche or to have like something. So it's a big reason to get together, not just for the food, for the family time and the quality time too. So for me, I always say this, like every time I have culinary experience or adventure, it's a big reason, not just for just sitting down. It's like sharing love, sharing time. It's sharing food and sharing love goes together.
Yeah. And it's a whole experience that translates in different cultures. You find that commonality across the world. And I want to also ask you, Ericka, with your experience, your love, your passion, and your passion for food and travel, what was, if you can remember, what was the first dish that you created as a child, or kind of what was that first cooking experience like for you?
Well, I don't know, repeat 2 times, but what is ají de gallina? That's one of my favorite because I didn't get into ceviche until later, my adult life, I will say, because I was kind of hesitated, and that goes together with history also on Peru. It's probably for another chapter. But that was my first dish. That my grandma is a big influence for me in my life in general, and she was the one that was doing these buffet tables, for lunch or for dinner. Every time somebody come to visit us, it will be like a big buffet of different dishes. So this is kind of a very particular in my house. You need to be, every time somebody visits us, is like a celebration for food and for visitors. But I will say that will be my first dish, like ají de gallina, because it was like, okay, you like this dish, you need to learn how to cook it. You need to know every step. So that's why every Sunday, I have the opportunity. I'm the one in charge for lunch. I need to be, poor family, need to be the same dish every time. So I know, I can perfect the dish. But also another one that I remember that was very special, or is very special until now, is called causa. Causa is a dish that is made with mashed potatoes. Of course, having like more than 3,000 types of potatoes, make it like always have different potatoes for different dishes. In this particular
Wow.
case, is again the jello. It was like a potato that has this delicious flavor, but the colors are very bright. So I will say, and then you see, we use the chili there in the potato. And when you mash the potato, you need to use like a little bit of chili, a little bit of lime, and then put it together, kind of in a layer, like a container. You put like a layer of potato, then another layer, but tuna like from the can, and then mix it with like a little mayo, salt, and onions. And then from there, another layer of potato mashed before you need to mash the potato, and kind of like it will be potato or like pie, but it's more like a mashed potato. I call it like a pie or something like that. But then, and then from there you put like in the top like avocado. You put like you can decor with anything like you want, but then you just put in the fridge. And it's like you don't need to put it in the oven or anything. Just put it in the fridge for a few minutes, and then it's ready, And then you can decorate it also with boiled eggs. And then if you look for causa, it's kind of cause translated in English, but it's Causa. So it's very typical for like appetizers, something like that.
And it's eaten cold, correct?
It's cold. Yes,
Wow.
and you can eat it like just before like any big entry. You can get it like an appetizer.
Yeah.
Go perfect with ceviche. Some people even serve like the ceviche and the causa in the side. So interesting to see. You can see the biggest causa ever, like a big dish, or you can see a small portion. So you have the choice, depending how hungry you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so that was one of the first dishes that you learned.
Yeah, I would say one of the first. But like you said, like I've been saying, like it's so many, it's so hard to choose or pick one. You have all these possibilities.
Yeah, so many possibilities. I just love going back to the fact that there's over 3,000 types of potatoes alone.
Exactly.
It's just
That's amazing.
You would never have known that. So Ericka, this conversation has been spectacular. I really appreciate your time, sharing your passion and knowledge for all things about Peru. The tours that you do in Peru are super fascinating. So I just want to, my last question to you today in this conversation is, for those who are watching, thank you for joining us, but where can we find more about what you do, Ericka, and how can we stay involved in what you're creating and putting out there?
Thank you again, Jessica, and thank you for watching us. And I love to do more videos like that. So I promise I will try to do. Like I say, cooking for me is like a kind of a demonstration of love too. Sharing love is kind of cooking is also the same as sharing like a little bit of love, a little bit of culture too. So I will say you can find me in www.delectableperu.com, which I need to work on too. It's a website. It's still there. You can connect with me directly at my website and my email, of course, and this beautiful way that is the Instagram that always connect us with the community. Even like I say, it's been like many people in the industry of travel, and I send all my love and my heart to all the people that is in the travel and all the industries that are being affected with the pandemic. Will be like very slow. Even I was in Peru in July, in August, but I know next year will be better for everyone. Like need to be better in the 2022. So many of you out there, I feel like we're gonna have a better year, next year. So you can contact me anyway. But thank you so much, Jessica.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for everyone who's joining us, who has joined us. I will be, putting this chat up if you missed the beginning or the end or just want to watch it again. I'll be putting it up on Instagram TV. And so you can, feel free to watch it there as much as you want. Add some comments, some questions, tag Ericka. She'd be happy to answer you anything about Peru. And also, look forward to future conversations like this with other people, from around the world. It's just such a great opportunity always to learn more about food and culture. So thank you, Ericka. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Gracias.
Gracias. Muchas gracias. Happy Sunday. Feliz domingo para todos.
Thank you so much, Erica. Bye.
Thank you, Jessica. Bye bye.